Say, I'll give you an example. In history, world history, we got a question saying, how did American and French revolutions change the world?
Right.
That was a question. So instead of, so the focus area was on how, say, the rule by the people, liberty, equality, fraternity from French Revolution, and concept of written constitution in American history, and all men are born free, and taxation without representation, all these. So focus should be on the, say, the general overview and the big picture, rather than, say, detail integrities of.
Hello everyone, welcome to Chamomile Tea with Toppers, an initiative by Unacademy. This is Venkatesh Chaturvedi, and today with us we will have Suryateja, who has secured the rank 76 in the UPSC CSE examination of 2019. All right, and we'll be talking about his journey, we'll be talking about his approach towards this examination and the way he got the success. So let us now connect with Surya. Hey Suryateja, how are you?
I'm good, Venkatesh. How are you?
I'm good too. So how are you feeling after that awesome rank of 76?
I felt very contented. So there was a feeling of contentment after a lot of hard work. So it felt good. So
right.
It feels good.
Definitely. So I'm sure, one of the very important aspects is that this was your 5th attempt. So for all the aspirants, I just like to mention a little bit of details about Surya. So he basically is a BTech from Computer Science Engineering. He graduated in 2014, and since 2014 till 2018, he was working with TCS, right? So he was one of those engineers who got into the software side, and was working in TCS, and then had a motivation towards the preparation, right? So, and subsequently in his 5th attempt, that is 2019, he got through the process with the rank 76. Right. So Surya, it must have been a journey with a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of because you mentioned that in the initial few attempts you did not clear the prelims. If you could run us through the journey that how was your journey for the first 4 attempts, and then what did you what course correction did you do to get through in the 5th attempt?
So, Venkatesh, I wanted to prepare for this exam right from childhood. It's because it's out of my own interest.
Right.
Nobody told me, that you should, maybe give this exam, because social studies was my favorite subject in school.
Okay.
And this factor is very important, is what I feel. I mean, there would be subjects which one is interested in. So I had that inclination. And second, when first, in 2014, I graduated, and it so happened that my father passed away in the same year, unfortunately, that year.
Right.
So I was already campus placed by that time. So I took up this job in 2014. So I continued working for 4 years. But in my first 3 attempts, which I gave one exam. My first attempt was without much preparation. I just gave it after my graduation, and I couldn't clear prelims. Even my subsequent first 3 attempts, I couldn't clear prelims.
Right.
So then I realized that I am not devoting my full time to this exam.
Right.
And I was able to see my shortcomings in my preparation. So I resigned from my job in March 2018. I gave prelims in 18. In June, I cleared prelims then. I wrote mains in 18, but I couldn't clear mains. And now I cleared this 19 exam. This is what I did. And in between, while I was working in TCS, I also did my MA in Sociology.
Okay, so did you take that as an optional itself?
Yes, Sociology is my option. That's why
great, awesome. So did you do a distance course from IGNOU or something?
Yes.
All right, great.
So while I was working, I enrolled for MA in Sociology through distance mode.
Yeah, so Surya, before we go into the nitty-gritties of every subject and the way you approach the subjects, just like to ask you that so you started the preparation just just after college, right? After college, you started the preparation, and the first attempt was given after college. But was there a particular approach towards this examination in terms of reading the texts or say the newspapers beforehand, or did you just start after the college itself?
As I told you earlier, I wanted to give this exam. So, and I was reading newspapers daily, and I was also in the editorial team of our college magazine. So that was there where I was writing, and so that was there. But preparation as such, the standard books and all, I did not prepare anything while I was in college. I read few sources which are say relevant for this exam, but they are not standard sources. I did not prepare any say NCRTs. I did not study NCRTs while I was in college. So all that. Yeah.
All right. So while you were in while you were working, so you, because you gave the examination thrice, while you were working. So what was your routine like, if you could share with us, that how did you, manage time after the corporate job, maybe before the office, after the office? What was your, daily routine like when you were working there?
Most of my preparation used to be in weekends. Saturday and Sunday were the days where I used to find time. And on weekdays, I used to wake up early in the mornings, and before I could go to office, say by 10 a.m. So I used to prepare for not more than 2 to 3 hours. That would be the maximum that I could do for a day on a weekday. In the evening, I would be tired, and I wouldn't be able to study in the evening usually, because it used to be past 8 p.m. By the time I start from office.
Correct.
So that used to be my routine while working.
Right. So I think it must have been very, very tiresome and grueling, because, obviously the corporate job itself, is very tiresome. And then the UPSC preparation is not a piece of cake in that sense. Right.
Exactly.
Right. So I think that, so it was a very wise decision, as you have mentioned, that you left the job and prepared full time then.
Yes. Great. This is my serious advice to aspirants, because I would say that if someone thinks that they can prepare, I want them to look at, say, statistics, to look at the, the allotment, how, there's a lot of competition, and there are people preparing full time, and there are also already people who are in service writing it again.
Correct.
So to just think that we could not spare time and then clear, it would not be a wise decision.
Yeah, I think it will be very unfair on the examination also, that, because there are, as you mentioned, that, there's so many people who are working full time, who are studying full time. And when you're competing with them in such a, tough examination, I think it's wise to, yourself also work study full time for this examination.
Yes.
Correct. All right. Okay. So now if we start with these, individual subjects. So what was your approach towards CSAT? Because generally it is seen that CSAT, because it's just a qualifying paper, you need to get 67 out of 200 marks to qualify. So did you, prepare separately for CSAT, or did you just give some mock tests, get an idea of how much marks you are getting, and then move ahead?
Yes, I gave mock tests in CSAT, and I did not take the paper for granted. I thought, because usually CSAT, there are two, because CSAT is one such paper which is usually considered easy for, say, engineers who are already, there's quant and all this. So, but then it's better to, say, write mock tests, check our scores. And then I also worked on few areas in quant, logical reasoning, and that. So that helped me. So
एक टाइम पे यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन दिल्ली के सिर्फ कुछ ऑफलाइन क्लासेस में ही हो सकती थी, और वो भी लाखों रुपए की फीस देने के बाद। इसीलिए यूपीएससी एस्पायरेंट्स की मदद के लिए मैंने एक वेबसाइट और यूट्यूब चैनल शुरू किया। आज यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स पे मेरी किताब अमेज़ॉन के टॉप 100 बेस्ट सेलर्स में है। यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन में सबसे ज़रूरी है ये समझना कि एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से क्या रेलेवेंट है और क्या नहीं। मेरे टीचिंग एक्सपीरियंस और एग्जाम ट्रेंड एनालिसिस के साथ मैं आपको सफलता की ओर ले जाऊंगा। मेरा नाम है मृणाल पटेल, मैं अनअकैडमी प्लस पे लाइव पढ़ाता हूँ।
Yeah, because many of the people, what they do is they take this exam for granted. They're like, it's just a qualifying paper, and at the end of the day, it might so happen that you get a very good score in GS and may not qualify the CSAT paper.
True.
So
true.
Yeah. All right. So all right. So giving mock tests in the CSAT was your approach with certain focused, I think approach which was there for certain focused areas that you worked upon. Right.
Yes, wherever we feel that these questions are
you're not
tough
able to
to
do
answer,
well.
I'm not able to do well, then
Great,
I
great.
can work.
Yep. Okay. So now if you go to general studies, so general studies has two aspects to it. One is the prelims focused objective type of questions. Then there are the subjective papers in the mains answers. So the syllabus, if you observe, is more or less some of the subjects are same, but there are certain subjects which are exclusively there in mains and may not be there in prelims.
Yes.
So what was the approach towards the prelims and the mains? Did you separately study for them? Did you integratedly study for them? And maybe, so if you could elucidate a little bit on them.
Yes. So there are few subjects which are exclusive for mains, say security, disaster management, ethics, world history, and all these are specific to mains.
Right.
And also you have certain subjects which are there only in prelims. So even ancient and medieval history, which is there in prelims, it's not there in mains as such. There is modern history and art and culture.
Correct.
So that is it. So first, I did not differentiate between prelims and mains when I'm studying. And my strategy has been that I would focus on a subject. Well, in a sense that I used to read one subject, say for a week.
Okay.
I have this tendency that I don't shift between subjects. It's my strategy.
Right.
So I don't do this that morning I read polity, afternoon I shift to history. It works also, but for me it is more to do with, say, I finish this chapter, go to another. I have continuity in this. And once I finish this subject, I used to write a test on it.
Okay.
And I could see the difference between, say, I could see the difference of reading it for these many days, so that I would improve my scores in it. And my first readings used to be very thorough. So and later I used to revise what I made. I made notes also of what very important points. Not of every chapter. Very important points in each chapter.
Correct. All right. So I think one approach that you followed, I think I'd like to ask a little leading question to that, is that you said that when you finished a subject, you tested yourself upon that. I think that is one of the things which people tend to miss out a lot on. They think that once I will finish everything, all the subjects, then I'll give a test.
Exactly.
So what is your opinion on that?
It's a secret of success, actually, if you think of it. Writing test is more important than studying.
Okay.
Because we have to test ourselves once we read. So there will be aspects which are first they should know what to read and what not to read. That's a different approach. So that helped me a lot. I wrote tests, especially in prelims, and in prelims my tests were all sectional first.
Right.
So as I mentioned, I used to finish a subject, write tests on it, and then move on to grand tests. So I never focused on grand tests right away.
Correct.
So once we are thorough in all the sections, our score improves a lot in the final grand test. So that was my approach in prelims.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I think this is a universal truth for the UPSC examination, and I think for many of the other examinations, that practice is one of the very important aspects. So if you could just tell us, quantify how many tests or the questions you must have solved, before the prelims, because you've given it 5 times, right?
Yes.
So was there a difference in approach in the 5th and the 4th attempt when you qualified, then the first 3 attempts? What was the difference?
Very much. I could see a lot of difference in my approach. So my preparation was not holistic when I wrote the exam first time. So especially in the first 3 times. So once I resigned, I used to do this at least 200 questions per day.
Okay.
And on one subject.
Okay, all right.
So this used to be my strategy. I told you I resigned in March 2018. So soon, since from the
3 months,
day after
in
the 3 months, I did these questions. I finished sectionals and I improved myself from what I studied earlier. So that was the reason why I cleared prelims that year that way. And so that sectionals and yes.
So I think the thing is that at least for prelims, and I think similarly this for mains also, but at least for prelims, you have to practice a lot of questions, especially before the prelims itself. So
Very true.
So basically, if I just quantify 200 questions per day is two complete tests per day basically. So you must have given not less than 100 tests totally in those 3 months, right?
Yeah.
More than 100 tests in fact.
And all those were not just tests. So I used to look for answers also. So it's not that I was writing test every time. I never used to take this 200 and write it as a test. I used to take these questions and look at the answers also. First I used to try maybe and then look at. So it was not a exam kind of. I used to write an exam once in 4 to 5 days. So
I think that makes sense because having a question bank and solving them very frequently gives you a kind of a knack of solving questions. And even sometimes, when you have those, is it A or is it C? You tend to get more answers correct even if you practice a lot. I think that's a very good point. So, and there are two approaches which you mentioned. One is giving the test in the exam environment, which you did every 4 or 5 days before the examinations. And one was just solving questions just like that. Solve the question, see the answer.
Yes.
So I think both work well. Good. I think that was a very good suggestion to all the aspirants out there. All right. Awesome. Then if you go to the main stage, so how was your approach for the mains? Did you have exclusive notes made for mains? Was there a daily answer writing strategy before the mains or before the prelims? What was the approach there?
Answer writing is a key for scoring well in mains. So it is a focus area. And it's not just about studying, but how we present answers in 3 hours is what matters in mains. So my strategy for mains has been mostly focused on improving my answers. So while I was preparing first I focused on current affairs relevant for each topic. So if I was writing one question in mains, I used to give detailed example of a current scenario where it is related. So my answers had examples. So I think that improved. Regarding tests, I used to write tests again once in 4 to 5 days once. So I did not do a daily answer practice. So I in fact I would suggest aspirants say not to write 1-2 questions. I am of this opinion that you should have a fixed time. Even if you write half test, because writing 3-hour test is very tiresome. So rather than that, 1.5 hour test can be taken. 10 questions in 1.5 hour. 5 of 15 markers and 5 of 10 markers in GS or something like that. So that is what I used to do. That helped. And the answer writing is a key factor.
Key factor there. All right. Acha, now I think let's dig deep into the individual subjects and try to see that what kind of sources that you utilize so that the aspirants get to know our book lists regarding the same. Okay, so let's start with I think the GS paper 1 history. So it's a vast subject. There are 5 aspects to it: world history, post-independence history, modern history, ancient history, medieval history. So what are the sources that you utilize for them individually?
First, for history. I refer to NCRTs. I studied them, and also I went through Tamil Nadu textbooks of 11th and 12th.
Right.
So I found them very concise. I haven't referred to them earlier. So now, before this year when I was writing for 19, I prepared them thoroughly, and I found them very good. It helped them. It helped me in writing some good points. And also spectrum I refer to in modern history. Modern history I refer to spectrum, and I focused on the summaries also. For each chapter you have summaries at the end of spectrum. So after finishing the chapters, I used to focus on them and write points. So those were my major sources. So and world history, I followed this material which I have written, and I followed one of the material. There was Vision IS material on world history. But I would suggest aspirants not to go to very detail in world history. Because
1 or 2 questions are asked.
1 or 2 questions come. But I have covered the syllabus thoroughly. But say the focus must be not on remembering say dates in history or names and all. Chronology is important. Chronology we remember when we read. Say I'll give you an example. In history, world history, we got a question saying how did American and French revolutions change the world?
Right.
That was a question. So instead of, so the focus area was on how, say, the rule by the people, liberty, equality, fraternity from French Revolution, and concept of written constitution in American history, and all men are born free, and taxation without representation. All these. So focus should be on the, say, the general overview and the big picture, rather than say detailed integrities of.
Correct.
That helped.
Right. I think what you're trying to mention here is that the analysis part of the various events, that why did those events happen and what was the impact.
Yes.
Those are the kind of questions which are largely covered, which we have seen in the last 4-5 years.
Correct.
Right. What about post-independence history? Did you study post-independence history?
I studied post-independence history also, but post-independence history is more to do with, say, the other social changes that happened, because I am a student of sociology.
Right.
So I covered mostly in my optional.
Optional itself.
Because there is Indian society which is there in the paper too. So.
Right. Correct. Right. Now, closely associated with the histories and art and culture. So that's one of the dreaded subjects, because there's so many things to remember. Sometimes it becomes challenging. And there was one year in which exceptionally large number of questions had come, and which has created a kind of scare among the aspirants that what if this happens again. So what was the approach towards art and culture?
I followed Nitin Sangwan book. Nitin Singhania book on art and culture.
Right.
So Nitin Sangwan was sociology. Even in road. So I followed it. And what I did was, for each part in art and culture, I made notes, specific points. So questions. And mains, especially this year, if we see questions from art and culture, they were not, say, specific questions. They were not directed towards, say, individuals. It was, so once we prepare, the questions in general, in a sense, so that helps. Say, so Amravati style of architecture different from Gandhara style of architecture, and such questions.
Right.
So there were some things which aspirants cover. So the way we present it is what
that is
makes
important.
a difference. The way we present interesting parts first, giving it an introduction, and then concluding the answer. So that is more important than, say, some detail which you want to mention just out of, because the answer should make sense in a way. So there should be that flow in the answer, rather than say some individual points which we mentioned randomly.
So I think before we go to the other subjects, we'll just take that in, say, 5 minutes. I'd like to discuss one important issue which you have just raised. That is the utility of presentation in the mains answer writing. See, I think a person who is able to qualify prelims examination and is writing the main examination, they are mostly at the same level of knowledge base, more or less. Right? They might have some differences in some subjects, but more or less, they are competent enough to write the mains examination. Yet some of them make it through, some of them do not. So what do you think is that X factor in the answer writing, in the presentation, in terms of including the diagrams maybe, or say, the way you mentioned about introduction? What, how did you figure those things out, and what was your approach towards the presentation side of the answer?
The X factor is writing with a free mind.
Okay.
What most exam taker like, the key factor is one where we approach the question without having, say, constrained by what we read.
Okay.
Because we must address the question in its entirety.
Right.
So it must be like a meaningful conversation. So that is, because I'll tell you, because I'm someone who did not clear mains in 2018.
Correct.
So when I compare my papers, answer writing papers to 2018 to what I wrote now, I'll tell you, after writing mains, I was pretty sure that I would clear. I had no doubt in mind. So it's because I was writing mock tests, and in the offline mock test which I wrote, I scored the highest all through.
Okay.
Right from my first test till last test. So I was
all right.
competing with people. Yeah, I was competing with people who are already in service too. So then I was able to get this confidence that my strategy of answer writing is working. So it's not that I.
So how did you figure that out? I think that's a very difficult path. How did you figure that out? Yeah.
When I sat and tried to improve my answer writing, so this is one major area where I thought I should improve. So it has. So as you mentioned, every exam taker who comes to mains has more or less equal knowledge. So it's not that it's a difference of knowledge which it's not the X factor. The main factor here is how we present what we know,
right,
and how free we present. I'll give you. So I'm not constrained by say which example I'm quoting from which paper. Say I might have read something in another paper altogether. But if the example is relevant, I would definitely quote it here, and so that helped me.
Okay.
And also,
Go ahead.
I also made, as I told you, relevant examples, and I have that made a huge difference, is what I feel.
Right. I think it's something very similar to say how Usain Bolt trains. There's a lot of preparation which goes to that 10 seconds of sprint. So I think for a person who qualifies, there's a lot of homework that one does in terms of, say, practicing making diagrams, practicing making flow charts, practicing making giving examples, quoting examples, and that all comes into the onto the paper once you give the exam.
Yes, exactly, because we have to finish the paper in 3 hours.
Right. Correct.
So especially in GS, when we have to write 20 questions in 3 hours.
In 3 hours. Yeah, correct.
So we hardly have 7 to 8 minutes to read the question, understand what it is, think what to write, and then present.
Right.
So this answer writing ability, say mock test, will make us improve this. The better answers we will be able to present only when we are, when we have this, we are in that flow.
Correct.
Which comes usually with mock test.
Yeah. Right. All right. Great. Acha, now I think let's come back to the subjects. We discuss about history, discuss about art and culture. What about geography?
NCRTs. Geography NCRTs are the best. Very, very, very good sources. And GC Leong for physical geography.
Okay.
I followed. These were my primary sources. Also, and I made notes out of. Say I used internet also. Say monsoon or any specific topic where I used to find material. I used to make notes out of it, and I revised my geography notes. And I also use my tab wherein I used to save, say, the screenshots of what I have read. So I made a content out of it. And those were my studies for geography.
Okay, all right. I think NCRTs is very good source for both these subjects, geography and history.
True.
Right. What about Indian polity?
In Indian polity, first of all, PRS Legislative India Research website, PRS India website for current legislations. That's a good source. I made, I followed every act made by the Parliament and every bill tabled in the last 1 year before when I'm writing this exam. So I followed every part of it. And I also followed big picture debates. Rajya Sabha TV debates. And then for the static part, I feel Lakshmikant is more than enough for aspirants. So here I want to tell you regarding sources, I am mentioning only these sources because I feel that if say aspirant has multiple sources, I think it's a wrong strategy. It's better to have say 1 or 2 standard books which cover the syllabus. In a sense. So covering the syllabus is more important than collecting sources is what I feel. Because I find many aspirants to be, say they read from multiple sources but don't have grip on what they read. So I would rather advise them to say read 1 or 2 books which cover the syllabus and have total grip over it.
Right.
So that they miss nothing.
Yeah, I think that's a very good advice that, revising the same sources again and again, rather than, finding multiple sources for the same thing. Right. All right.
Correct.
Okay. And as you mentioned, Lakshmikant is very, self-sufficient book for at least the static portion.
Yes.
Yes. All right. What about Indian economy? Major subject.
It has, if you see paper this year for mains in Indian economy, questions are very dynamic.
Right.
Yeah, very dynamic.
Right.
And here I mentioned about writing with a free mind. So it applies a lot in this paper. So if you talk to any person who cleared this year, they will tell you about paper 3 economy. So I prepared for this exam. The starting part, Shankar Ganesh is where I prepared for the starting part.
Okay.
And then I prepared, and all these, I followed the economic survey, part 1 and part 2. And part 1 is very important.
Right.
So part 2 has more of the statistics, figures, and such. So part 1 is where it's very important. And I followed the budget part in it, and and current affairs for all these subjects are quite important. So I was focusing more on current affairs also, on the economy. And there was this question. So there was a question on demonetization also, which has come. So I made a graph for it. I showed India's GDP for every year, and I quoted from the economic survey. So all that. So if all the questions which have come this year, they're mostly to do with the current issues, and rather than say some static portion in economy. It was never say a definition or say some curve. What is, they're not asking what is Phillips curve or Lorentz curve or what is it. It is more to do with all these current issues, economic issues.
Correct.
So it applies to every other subject also. So current affairs is the first part, and how you relate it to the question asked is crucial.
Right. I think the fact that it's not economics, rather it's Indian economy. So therefore, there's a distinction there. People start to study the micro, the very basic static portion, and in terms of micro and macroeconomics, which may not be asked too much. Rather, it's more about the macroeconomics and about the current affairs which are going on.
Correct. It is important to have basics correct. It is important to read what is inflation, what is every basics.
Because otherwise you won't understand. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is there. That part should be read, but the focus area must be, as you mentioned, it should be the Indian economy, challenges facing it, and current issues. How do you address them? Government schemes for addressing them. What are the initiatives taken already, and what do you suggest? So that would be the focus area.
So I think it's, for instance, at present during the Corona crisis, there have been so much of economic stimulus packages and everything. So a person can expect, that these kind of questions might feature in the next time means.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah. So I think that is how you approach economics more or less.
Yes.
Knowing the basics and then figuring out how the current affairs are relating with your basics and the statics. Right?
Exactly.
Right. Great. Awesome. I think one of the very challenging aspects of the exam is current affairs. And there are, 100 approaches that people mention. So if I quote a few of them, some people say, I just read the newspaper, that's it. Some say I read the newspaper and made notes. Some say that I've read the newspaper, made notes, followed the current affairs compilations. And then there are, multiple compilations available. So what was your approach there?
Yeah. First, I did not make notes.
All right.
So I was not doing daily current affair notes.
I think that's it takes a lot of time.
Exactly. That is the reason. And I see very less return on people who make daily current affairs. But I covered current affairs thoroughly. And so that helped me a lot. In fact, all through the exam, I was very thorough in what happened last year completely.
Okay.
So the reason for it is I used to follow not just the Hindu, but Hindustan Times and Times of India also.
3 newspapers, all right.
Yes, and I know what to read and what not to read. Like it hardly used to take me less time to read, say, what is important. Editorials I used to read every day.
Right.
So, and this is one advice, because whenever we speak to UPSC aspirants, they talk about the Hindu. They say we are reading the Hindu, and they don't read any other paper. They don't have any other alternative. So, in essence, that is it. That I followed. And second, compilations are very important.
Right.
So any one compilation, say whatever you read, and compilations which are subject wise.
Correct.
Rather than monthly current affairs. So it is more to do with the final, compilation which comes, say, polity, economy. Those are very important.
The year-end compilations.
Exactly, the year-end compilations. You can keep on reading in the months, but those the final compilations, year-end compilations must be read as if they're textbooks.
Correct.
Textbooks, and so that you don't miss anything. So out of it, and I revised them 4 to 5 times. So that helped me, and I, as I mentioned, I use tab also. So whenever I used to read, I used to take a screenshot. So I read digitally also. So I used to take the screenshot, highlight the important parts. I used to get back to them whenever needed. So that helped me a lot.
Right.
It saved time rather than writing notes. Writing notes and all, I saved.
See, someone is preparing that, compiling 4-5 newspapers at one place and then, working for you. I think it's better to rely on that.
Exactly. They're making our job easier.
Correct.
So why do you want to reinvent wheel and write your own?
Correct. Yeah. Because I think what happens in general is that if new aspirants take advice from a person who may have cleared the exam, say 10 years back, they will say that, if you are not making notes, you're not reading handwritten notes, you will not qualify. Because that was the approach which was relevant 10 years back when the compilations were not available.
Correct.
But now the compilations are available, I think it's better to rely upon them. Obviously, I think one thing you mentioned was reading the newspaper cannot be replaced, right, with the compilation, especially with the editorial part, because editorials are not covered in the compilation as such.
Yes, and editorial parts and international affairs.
Affairs, correct.
The world page which comes, they're very, because they'll have this continuity. So you develop that interest in some issue happening. So that is very important.
Correct. I think that's very good advice for current affairs, right? Apart from that, there are these few small subjects. Like we have, for instance, international relations, we have the science and technology, disaster management. So how did you approach these subjects, small subjects, which are maybe 1 or 2 questions are asked in mains?
I feel international relations has been my favorite subject.
Right.
So that I prepared it thoroughly because there's nothing like static in it. So you don't have anything static. In essence, it doesn't. So I prepared current affairs very thoroughly for it. So as I mentioned, this newspaper reading and following the issue, and also I used to have my own personal opinions. So out of what I read, so I was able to read, and I also made notes out of current affairs. So that strategy helped me a lot in higher. So some of my best answers I feel were in IR.
Were in IR itself. Okay.
Yes.
I think something very interesting you mentioned was the dynamism of IR, right? Because even one decision or one statement could change the whole world order. So I think that's very interesting for IR, right?
Very much. So you have terms where comprehensive strategic partnership, which you should use, and there is a key terms like say US, there is STAR, Comcast, and all such terms which when you have this term ready and all, your answer, the way you approach the answer radically differs from how you would generally answer a question, maybe. So
definitely. I think we had a very good discussion about all the subjects. We got to know your sources, the way you approach these subjects. Now, if we go to the say the third level of the whole process, that is the interview stage. So what was your approach towards interview stage? Because this was I think the first and the only and the last time time that you experienced the interview stage.
Exactly.
So what was your approach towards that? Must have been a little nervous that it's the 5th attempt and the interview stage. What was what all went into that?
First, after clearing mains, after writing mains, as I told you, I was pretty confident of clearing it. So I was looking forward.
Though it's very rare, but I think that's very commendable.
Because that was there. So I was looking forward, and result has come on Jan 15th. When mains result has come, and then my interview was supposed to happen on March 31st.
Okay.
It got postponed due to lockdown. It happened on the last day of interviews. July 30th was when I gave my interview.
Oh my God.
And August 4 was when result came. So, it was I hardly came back home and result has come. So, it's been 2 days. So, my preparation for interview has been that one, we should be ourselves when we are answering questions in interview. First, to something which we don't know, it's perfectly okay to say that we don't know, and to give our opinion. So my interview has been very pleasant. So I was able to answer because most of my interview went on opinion based interview. So what do you think?
And as you mentioned that you always used to develop your opinions. That's very important. Yeah.
So so it was very cordial, very I was able to answer the questions which they put me through. And I just before interview I attended mock interviews, so that helped me. And later when I faced the interview on July 30th, I was the first one to go in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the first one to go. And so I went in, and first there were many questions which were asked. So almost I faced 25 questions, and which are like follow-up questions are also there. So it went on my DAF. So preparing aspects from your DAF is very important. So every aspect which I mentioned, as you mentioned, you asked me, I did MA in sociology while I was preparing. That was one of the first points to be asked. So you did your MA in sociology, CTwT Madam board was where I went. So Madam asked me, you did MA in sociology while you were working? So yes, Madam. And there were questions on DAF mostly. So I had traveling as a hobby. So I mean, if I can tell one example, I was asked about whether Air India should be privatized or not.
Okay, all right.
I gave my opinion why it should be privatized. So I gave reasons for it. And so all that, so it was a very DAF, preparing for DAF is very important. So, and answering questions, so see, it doesn't matter what you say, but the reason behind what you say is more important. So if you're saying something, there must be a reason why you are asked to telling it. So I feel that's most to do with interview. So
right. So the aspirants who might be wondering what DAF is, like DAF is basically detailed application form, which one fills after say qualifying the main stage, and then when they have to appear for the interview stage. Basically, you have to write a lot about your hobbies, about your qualification and things like that, and therefore it's very important to be very very straightforward there. You can't bluff there, because those people are very, very smart people who are taking your interview.
Exactly. Madam, CTwT Madam, who took my interview, she worked in the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So when I'm asking something about Air India, you have to be careful as to what you know. And so all such.
Achha, one important issue, because you have said that you used to carry opinions about issues, right? So sometimes taking a one stand might go against you, maybe at the main stage or maybe at the interview stage. So did you balance out things? Did you have an approach to balance your opinions, or did you if you stuck to one opinion, you just talked about it? What was the approach there?
So when I meant that I have an opinion, I mentioned about reading all the papers.
Right.
So it's that you should have this in your personality to appreciate the alternate view also.
Correct.
You may hold an opinion, that is completely fine, but it is that you should know the other aspect of it. So when you know it, your answer for sure becomes a balanced answer.
Yeah.
You know the other view. So and you could mention the other view too. So whenever I am asked, so that's pretty much. And not that there are no extreme opinions as such anyway. So there would be no issues unless you are a radical person.
Correct. So I think balancing out things, and therefore one of the good approaches was to read out different opinions. You might not like on a personal basis certain opinion, but still reading it out, hearing out all the aspects and the points might enlighten you in a manner which otherwise you might close yourself towards.
Exactly, because our opinions also change over time. It's not that you hold to some issue and so, and also especially in my interview there were no say very controversial questions or anything as such. It was more to do with say NSS. I worked in the National Service Scheme. So I was asked about should it be made compulsory. I told why it shouldn't be compulsory, and there are other avenues also. So I was asked about the drawbacks of renewable energy. The question was we all know the advantages of renewable. Please tell me the drawbacks. I was
Drawbacks.
mentioning about
Okay.
ramp up and ramp down issues, and
Correct.
I was mentioning all these. So there were voter turnout in elections was there because that was one. We undertook while I was in college. We undertook voter full campus drive. So wherein we registered everybody as a voter. So,
Okay.
We were part of that. So I was asked this question: why is voter turnout low? What can we do to improve it? So as students of sociology, I mentioned reasons for it: how middle class is exiting, how we see, and all that. So that was my first question: why voter turnout is low? So I mentioned.
I think I forgot to ask one important question, that you changed the optional and your basically masters into a humanities background from in computer science engineering, right? So was there any question regarding that? Why did you change, or maybe what was the motivation behind doing a masters and not just taking it as an optional?
I was not asked. No. Okay. I was not asked. Why did you shift the optional? I think they appreciate this aspect that we have a degree in arts also, even after saying engineering.
Right.
So I was not asked. I was asked two questions on as a computer science engineer. I was asked on robotics. So two questions which I was able to answer. Okay, that helped.
Because many of the aspirants who are taking optional, they have this fear that as computer science is not there as an option, so I think that might not have been there. But otherwise, say if someone is from the electrical engineering or civil engineering, they also shift the optional. They always have this fear: what if I'm asked about it? What will I answer? So I think being very truthful about the fact that that you had an interest in a particular subject, I think that works well.
Yeah, because and one more aspect in interview, it's not about your knowledge. So because knowledge is already tested in mains.
Correct.
So they are not testing your knowledge here. So
correct.
What they test is your personality. In fact, we call it colloquially as interview, but it's personality test.
Personality test. Yep.
So the impression that you give to them that matters more than your knowledge or.
Right. All right, great. So I think we had a very good chat about all the aspects: prelims, mains, and interview stage. So if I may ask, what was the preference list in the service which you filled in your DAFs?
Yes, my first preference is IAS.
Okay.
My second preference is foreign service. And right now my rank is 76, and 76 is also the highest rank from Andhra Pradesh state this year.
Okay.
So if I am allotted IAS,
so home state,
it will be home state in Andhra Pradesh.
All right.
That is there. So this year, that is there. So it would be either say IAS in Andhra or the foreign service. So service allegation is yet to done. This week it's going to come.
It's going to come this year. Okay. All right. Okay, great. So as an IAS officer, you might, I'm sure, now since the results have come out, you might have contemplated, when I go to the districts 2 years later after the training and everything. These are the changes I like to bring in. If you could share some of your thoughts, so that we get to know what are the pressing issues that you think are there in the society which you want to bring a change in.
First, since if I would be allotted home cadre, which is most probable, I would be taking the first seat. So I have I have known Andhra Pradesh, my home state, in detail. So it would not be new to me, or I know the issues and the problems of each district in my state. That would be what I would focus on. I know what it, and then there will be 3 priority areas where I want to work. So first is education, where follow the even new education policy has come, wherein I want to improve teaching in government schools especially, and learning outcomes and all that. And second is job creation for youth, skilling and all that. So effective implementation of skilling programs and job creation and support to startups wherever possible. New areas, government support to them, and health infrastructure, public health infrastructure. My district, I come from Guntur in Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
It's a district bordering Bay of Bengal where Krishna River meets the sea. So it has a delta area where agriculture is very prosperous, and you have Nagarjuna Sagar Dam there, one of the large dams in India. So you get water from that, and it's famous for chilies. We have the chilies, Guntur chilies there, and tobacco board is in Guntur. So
Right.
there are many issues. Tobacco farmers
Right.
are facing issues
Correct.
with respect
Correct.
prices, and the many.
Mhm.
So and
Mhm.
district hospital in Gundura especially. So there are many aspects where I want to improve
Right.
public health infrastructure also.
Right. Right. Right.
All that.
I think that's a very insightful, insight, because I'm sure now you are relaxed with respect to the results and everything, and it has happened that you've got the rank 76, and just the service allocation is remaining. It's gonna
Yes.
be a very uphill journey in terms of the impact which you will make in the society, and I'm sure that you're gonna hear a lot about you in the times to come. All right. Now, before we end the conversation, we have a couple of things. And before we get into that, I have one particular question. What was what was your first reaction when you saw your rank? I think that we did not cover in the beginning of the interview.
Yeah.
What was, if you could recreate that particular situation, where were you? What were you doing? What your family doing? And when the results came, what was the reaction?
Yeah. When I was at home, so result has come on 4th morning, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And my phone started ringing, and messages are flooded. And so I picked up a call from a friend, and he told me that result has come. We are proud of you. And I did not tell me the rank. He was just that. Then I asked him, and he told me the rank. And soon after, my mom was preparing karelu for me. It's a dish which she is making in the kitchen. So I went into the kitchen and
Right.
told her result has come, and I got 76 rank.
Right.
That's a moment which I would say cherish for a lifetime, where we felt very happy. That feeling was contentment more of. So and again, just as I mentioned that I was sure after mains that I would go to interview and all. My interview went very well. So I was good that I was in this feeling that okay, I wrote mains well. Interview was also good. I was the
Good
first
only.
person to go.
Yeah.
It was pleasant. There were no. In fact, I could see not even one question where I did not say
Right.
I was quiet, or say I passed it, or nothing like that. It was a very free-flowing conversation, and it was good. So then I was expecting a rank. So
But there's always this doubt what rank would come.
Yeah. Yes. No, it feels very happy when it has come, but it is more of contentment.
Correct.
All your memories get flashed. The hard work, because in fact, my happiness even now is not just that I got this rank, and because I'm the only child, and my father passed away, so my mom and we stay together, both of us.
Right.
So my mother is very happy, and everybody around are very happy. They're very emotional in a sense after result has come. So that the making say my friends, my family, and everybody around happy is that's what that's more to do with my happiness rather than my personal, because this preparation is a step-by-step process. It's prelims, mains, and so for any rank it would be a huge say exactly, but it is.
Yeah, right. Achha, one more question before we go to the last part of our discussion. So when you did not qualify the prelims in the first 3 stages, right? So generally what happens is people feel a lot demotivated. They are like, this examination is not for me. I'm doing well in the job. I'll switch the job, get a better salary, work uphill in the corporate ladder. Let's drop this plan. What motivated to leave the job and get into this full time then? Despite of the three the baggage of 3 attempts of not going through.
First, I did not have this self-doubt. I never doubted myself. So I was not say even when I did not clear also, I was of the opinion that I am not giving this exam my full time. I was not even preparing, because I could see the lacuna in my preparation clearly. So so my confidence came from that aspect, that if I prepare well, I would be able to clear. So that drove me. And personally, even at school, I had this. Even at school, they used to call me an IAS officer, because whenever say social studies was my favorite subject, and
all right.
all that. And it used to be. So I used to fare very good in social studies. So my marks were always good. So that even friends used to tell me that. So that confidence also boosted. So you could do it, and all people around me are people who supported me. So my mother has been a very pillar of support. So when I resigned from job, she ensured that I do nothing except studying. So I did not save. I had the single-minded focus. I'll tell you how I prepared. So I resigned my job, and then I used to go to study hall every day.
Right.
I never studied at home, in fact I did not take coaching. You must. I was never a coaching. I never came to Delhi.
Okay.
I was never came to Delhi, and I am in Hyderabad here. I worked here in Hyderabad. So and then so all through this while I was writing tests anyway. Tests I was. But once I resigned, I used to go to study hall every day in the morning at 8:30. By 8:30, I used to be in study hall. I used to stay there till 9 p.m.
Okay.
In between, I used to take breaks.
Right.
And this was my routine. Soon after I resigned. So I did not take say Saturday, Sunday, or when I used to write a test, maybe I used to, in the evening, I used to come home early and get relaxed. So that was my daily schedule. And also I watched movies in between. I went to movie theaters. I watched movies in between. And the few, but it was my routine was this. So this is what, because I want to tell aspirants, many people think it is motivation. First, I never watched any topper interviews. I mean, today you might be. So I want to tell you this because it was never. No, I watched video. I meant to say that. Say when I was in college, I watched one of our toppers that year clearing first, and it was very inspiring. So I don't need to downplay that aspect. But what I want to focus on, it's not the motivation which will drive you to this exam, because motivation will stay in the morning.
Inside.
Yes, exactly. It will stay in the morning and it will go away in the evening. It is about discipline. Correct. How you do your day. So my day used to start in study hall and end in study hall usually. So that is what my day went, and that is the reason why I cleared. So I would advise aspirants to have proper environment, because to sustain this civil service needs a lot of preparation, long hours and all. Correct. To sustain that preparation, your environment must be conducive for you to study for 10 to 12 hours a day. Right. And the right sources. Do not have multiple sources. Have right sources. So this is how I thought, because this confidence was there. And please do not, failure comes. I faced failure. There was time when I did not clear prelims. There was time when I did not clear mains. But please understand that once your preparation is holistic, definitely rank is going to come. So I can tell you out of this experience this year. So it is that way. One should focus more on these aspects rather than
right.
So be confident is what I would suggest.
I think that's a very good point of advice that you have given to the aspirants, and that's very important. That the process of this examination is very important, right? All right, great, awesome. Now before we end the conversation, we have a ritual which is a rapid fire round. So the rapid fire round, we get to know you a little better on a personal level as well. Okay. All right. So are you ready for a rapid fire round?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Great. Awesome. Great. So any favorite superhero of yours?
My dad. My father has been my superhero.
All right. Great. Awesome. If you're given an opportunity to have a particular superpower yourself, what superpower would you have?
To make everybody happy.
Oh, nice. That's very nice. Very nice. And I'm sure with that particular rank and the IS or IFS, you will be able to make a lot of people happy. Yeah. Okay. Next question is, what kind of food do you like the best?
Homemade food. Food. Yes. Mom's food. In fact, you would be surprised. Even on we went interview day morning. So I made my mother cook, and we were in Andhra Pradesh Bhavan. So due to this COVID, we were all given accommodation there, and I mean, in a sense, people whose interviews happened after say the lockdown. COVID. So there, my mom cooked for me morning, and I had a full meal morning, so that I would be able to speak well in the interview. So home cooked food is what I prefer.
All right, great, awesome. What about holiday destination that you would like to visit?
Hill stations.
Hill stations. Oh,
Hill
nice.
stations. I have been many. All through India, and in fact, in childhood, we also stayed in Shimla. My dad worked as assistant director in Labour Bureau. So my early childhood was in Shimla, Ahmedabad, Chandigarh, and Chennai.
Nice.
So,
very nice.
Yeah, so that's why hill stations is why I remember eating albakras and apples in Shimla. I was quite young at that time.
Right.
Hill stations is what I prefer.
Amazing. I think, through these rapid fire round questions, we got to know you a little bit better, and you very candidly answer those questions as well. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Surya. Now, before we end, do you have a particular, final word of advice or a message to the aspirants? Please go ahead.
I want them I mentioned aspects which how I prepared and all. To be confident, first to give full time to it. Because civil service is one such exam. I know people who have went to this interview say thrice, 4 times, but who couldn't clear the exam. So it's a very you will be competing with already rankers and people. You have all backgrounds. There are doctors, lawyers, CAs, everybody. So I want them to say focus fully on this exam when they give their full time and make this holistic preparation by writing tests and all. So I think it's quite easy is what I feel. To clear this exam, once your strategy to the exam is correct and your sources. So this is what I want them to say. And last, but civil service is not just the only career, or there are many others also. So it's not that even if somebody does not clear, it's perfectly good. But so I don't want them to be. Because there will be people who have already attempted and all
right.
and all that. So but if your preparation is good, if you are able to prepare, and I think you would be sure of getting this rank even before you go to exam hall. Because we are performing well in mock tests, you would be pretty sure that most probably you would get a rank. So it doesn't happen that you get very good scores in mocks and then you go to exam and you don't clear. That's a very rare possibility. So I want them to take mock tests as serious as contest, and this way I think they would be easy to clear.
Great. I think that's a great word of advice, and a lot of new aspirants would take inspiration and work towards that goal of clearing this examination, right? And I think we had a very good conversation with you. Now, before we end, do you have any of your colleagues who has cleared the examination this time and you would want us to bring them on board for the subsequent interviews?
Yes, there is Satyasai Karthik, who is 103 ranker this year.
Right.
So you can interview him, and there are you can interview him, and there are others also. There is Prem Sagar, 170 rank this year. And you can...
Right, great. So I think our team will be in touch with them. We'll try to bring them on board so that more people hear about the success stories, so they get inspired and work towards their goals in a targeted manner. Thank you so much, Surya, for your time. Thank you so much for your time from this busy schedule. It was a great conversation which we had. And how was your experience of the interview?
It's awesome, Venkatesh. It's very good.
Thank you so much, Surya.
Life and freedom.